Yo, what is up everyone? Back here with another video. Today we're going to be going over a team that I have made for the new format, Series 12. I'm actually going to have a video talking about the format itself and kind of my reactions to it. But I just wanted to give you guys a team like pretty much as quick as I could, just because I know getting started in it can be a little complicated. So you might be a little confused because I think the last thing a lot of people would expect to see is like a double weather team. But I'm going to explain why it kind of makes sense in this format, and also to what I think are the best Pokemon in the format, and why I think this team is probably one of the best to get started with. So pretty much the format basically is right now very biased towards Zacian, and pretty much the main way that you can see Zacian really present some issues for people is through the amount of pressure it can exert with pretty much like other strong restricteds like Calyrex, right? So the main idea with this team is to give you a very bulky team that basically has a lot of options and can capitalize on a single restricted mode. So basically you're not forced to always bring both of your restricteds, and you can bring the one that's best for the scenario. That being said, it also gives you another mode that you can utilize, which is pretty much your Trick Room with Incineroar, right? And then two restricteds to really go crazy in Trick Room, right? Or you can go with the, what's it called? Groudon, Venusaur, Incineroar P2 mode. Or you can go with the Tornogre mode, right? So it gives you a lot of options there. I think Venusaur is the best grass type in the format. It's also just, like, it's crazy good, right? It's one of the best Pokemon around, so super, super good. Definitely worth using. But I'm going to be going through each of the members individually and kind of explaining their sets and what they do. The pace will obviously be in the description down below. The rental code is obviously right there. If for some reason I put the wrong one there, I'll fix it with the right one. But yeah, that's pretty much the main thing with the idea of the team. So we'll start off with Groudon. So Groudon's running a pretty standard set. Groudon's using a set of Rock Slide, Swords Dance, Precipice Blades, and Protect. So pretty much what Groudon is trying to do with that is be able to exert enough pressure to where you can get a free Swords Dance up, capitalize off of the bulk of your partners. If there's a Tailwind in play, your Groudon can obviously like do a lot. Its speed basically allows it to outspeed Zacian and Tailwind, but also it's slow enough where like in Trick Room, you know, it's still pretty playable, right? It's a pretty balanced team, I'd say. To the point of like you can kind of utilize the Groudon in multiple ways, and that's like kind of the idea with the team, right? So that's pretty much it for the Groudon part. I mean, it's not too complicated, right? We've all seen Groudons. It's very bulky citrus, so it's pretty much able to take a bunch of hits. Then we have Mystic Water Kyogre. So this Kyogre has enough speed so that in Tailwind it outspeeds Regieleki, but it's also slow enough to outspeed a lot of the other things like Timid Venusaur and stuff like that. It's very centered around being able to deal as much damage output as possible. So it's super nice to be able to kind of clean up the things that Groudon doesn't particularly like. So Groudon doesn't really like dealing with Landers, for example. It doesn't really like dealing with Incineroar. And you pretty much have a way to just immediately clear both of those. That's like super, super useful overall for the team. So that's just like one kind of way they synergize together, right? Because Kyogre doesn't really like dealing with the electric types. So pretty much Groudon can help you cover for that. So then Venusaur is really, really good on this team. I feel like it's like the most important part of this team. Pretty much you're utilizing it for Vine Lash, but Weather Ball is also really crucial as well. The ability to run Sludge Bomb as well is super nice. I forgot if I put Sludge Bomb or Earth, but let me actually double check. I'm pretty sure it is Sludge Bomb, yeah. So Sludge Bomb basically lets you boost yourself consistently, which is really nice. The main thing that you need to be mindful of with Venusaur is that you have no way to touch Dialga, but that's what you're going to be using the Groudon for. Right, so it pretty much gives you a great way to deal with the Dialga that doesn't require the Venusaur, so that way you can utilize the Venusaur in a better way to pressure everything else you run into. Next slot, Incineroar. Incineroar is pretty straightforward. You know, you get the parting shot, you're able to do some damage. It's just a super nice option as a whole, and you can really utilize that in a good way to kind of exert you know, that pressure with like Fake Out. You know, you can lead it next to P2, reduce damage, you know, go for parting shots and kind of set yourself up so that one of your restrictors is really difficult to deal with. But yeah, you'll notice too that similar to the team I used in Series 11, the Veltal team, it only has two real dedicated maxers, and those are Venusaur and Tornadus, right? And technically both of them can go without maxing, but basically the idea is that you can pretty much utilize it so that you have you know, two Pokemon that like work really well next to the partners. They have a synergy, like they basically synergize with the restricteds. Weather Ball is like the best part about this team. But yeah, that's pretty much like the main thing, right? Also too, the other thing to note with this what's it called, Tornadus, is that's running Dark Pulse. This allows it to hit Calyrex, and pretty much you can go for max darkness plus like Water Spout with Kyogre. It's pretty straightforward stuff. It's not too complicated. I'd say this is pretty similar in construction to, I'm trying to think of like a good comparable. There was in Series 11, there's like a archetype that has, I believe, Urshifu P2, Tornadus, Kyogre, Torkoal, Venusaur, basically like that kind of idea in terms of like how the team functions. So it basically is like super bulky, has a bunch of options, and you can utilize it pretty well, I think. And you can use it for damage, you know, you can use it for support. And then, yeah, P2, Ice Beam, Eerie Impulse, Recover, Trick Room, pretty much just meant to set Trick Room for both of your restricteds. It helps with the bulkier mode of the team, which is really nice. So, yeah, it's just something super cool you can utilize, right? But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it when it comes to specifically the team itself. So we're going to be talking about the common pairs, so you can get a little bit more context about the team and kind of how it's utilized. So, or used, I should say. So pretty much with this team, your main idea is that you want to be kind of forcing your opponent's Dynamax out first and putting yourself in an opportune place to kind of set up or get yourself in a good position to sweep, right? So it happens in a couple different ways, but you'll notice majority of the leads I have listed here are pretty much leads that involve some kind of pivoting, you know, or like some kind of damage reduction. So Groudon P2 is really good for kind of slowing things down if like your opponent leads something really aggressive. Pretty much giving you the ability to actually, you know, have a pivot into Incineroar, potentially Beta Grass move from Venusaur, get a free Trick Room up. Typically, what I'll do turn 1 with this team is either click Precipice Blades and Trick Room turn 1, or I'll go for a, swap into Incin and a Trick Room, right? Because then you get the ability to intimidate them. Typically, when you're leading Groudon P2, your back is going to be Venusaur and Incin, but it could also be Kyogre and Incin, right? It kind of depends on the situation. Then, Kyogre and Incin, I typically lead this in matchups where, like, I just want to exert pressure with Kyogre immediately, but what you can do with this is kind of Beta Grass move into Kyogre, swap into Tornadus or Venusaur, and then Parting Shot back out into Kyogre, or, like, whatever else you want in the field. So it's a really nice option. You could also lead, Tornadus and Incineroar. I didn't list this here, but Fake Out plus Airstream is really good into stuff like Venusaur. So it's, super nice in terms of that option, right? Another important thing to note that I think is something that gets overlooked a little bit when it comes to this format. So pretty much the main idea behind majority of the teams is giving yourself enough of like, I'm trying to think of the right way to put it. Basically giving yourself enough flexibility to where you can pretty much utilize multiple modes and pressure your opponent in team preview. But basically, that's why the tail room combination is on the team. But like you'll see, like a lot of these leads involve like baiting out damage, parting shotting, and then going into something else, right? Or like putting yourself in a position to do that. The final lead, Venusaur Groudon. This is the most aggressive lead out of the whole team. This lead is really good into matchups where like the opponent isn't necessarily like wanting to deal with all the offense. So it kind of helps you like just put on a little more pressure in like certain situations. But majority of the time, obviously, it is a bit aggressive. So you're going to be swapping out the Groudon for Incin. I only see situations where you attack with both if like pretty much they don't have an opposing weather setter like Kyogre, or they don't have like enough pressure with their lead to kind of exert that pressure on you. But yeah, that's kind of the main idea with that. Yeah, I mean, in terms of the actual leads and team and everything, that's pretty much it. A couple notes about this team. So this team does require you to know when to bring each restricted. So you're not always going to be bringing both restricteds. There are certain modes where you can do that, but majority of the time you're going to be bringing one restricted, right? It kind of depends on the situation. There are certain situations where you'll bring both. The main situations that I've found with this team where you bring both is when you bring like Groudon, Kyogre, Venusaur, and Incin. This is usually good when they don't have like a really strong grass type that can pressure you. You can bring Tornadus, Incin, Kyogre, Groudon, or Incineroar, P2, Groudon, Kyogre. But like I said, it's more so focused around single restricted modes where you can kind of adapt to what your opponent has, and that's like the main idea. So that's pretty much it in terms of the actual team itself. Obviously too, if you guys have any questions in the about the team or anything, you can always comment it, and I'll always look at it and I'll do my best to answer it. I'm doing my best to get out content for this series as quickly as possible because I know that right now It's, you know, it like just came out. Everyone's trying to get information on it. So once again, guys, I incredibly appreciate all the support. It means a lot, honestly, the fact that I'm able to do this. So thank you so much, just for all the support and everything. It really means a lot. So I'm really happy that I've been able to help you guys and kind of work with you through BDSP, Series 11, everything. I know I've been more consistent starting from the BDSP days. But yeah, no, thank you guys so much. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. There'll be more videos like this coming out soon. So make sure to let me know what you guys would like to see next, or like what teams you'd like to see next. There are 2 more rental code videos coming out. My first impressions are coming out, and there's gonna be a tier list on the restricted, so look forward to that. Make sure to support me on Patreon if you guys are interested in supporting the channel beyond obviously the videos, and make sure to check out Twitch. Been streaming Series 12 and doing stuff there. So thank you guys so much for all support, and I will see you guys on the next video. Peace.